I'm Mark Nussbaum, founder of Audible Rush. Today's video will help you install the bracket for your Jam-Pac. Take your spacer, put it over the handlebars like this. If the gap closes when you hold it tight, that means you will need to use two spacers, both the plastic spacer here, in addition this rubber spacer. We'll show you a slide in just a second, and you can determine what spacer combination you need depending upon how far the ring closes around the bar. When you place the spacer around your handlebar and pinch it tight, if it looks like the top picture and there's no gap, you should use both the plastic rings and the rubber strips as spacers. If on the other hand it looks like the center picture and there's a small gap, just use the plastic rings. If you have a large gap as in the lower picture, then don't use any spacers at all. Alright, so in this case we're going to need this plastic spacer and the rubber spacer. So we put them inside each other like that, about centered. Open it up and just put it around the handlebar with the gap approximately facing forward. It doesn't have to be too exact. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take your plastic spacer, put in place your rubber spacer, make it even, and around like that. So that's the first step. The second step in the installation will be to take your bracket and the cable, and let's start by taking the set screw wrench that's provided and loosen up the screws here. These are the cable set screws. Hope you can see that pretty much almost all the way out, but don't let them fall out. Do that on both sides, so you got to get them nice and loose. And we're going to insert the cable through there in just a minute. Okay, next, take the cable provided and loop the cable under the stem of the bicycle as I'm doing here. Then take the mount, hold it with the red tab up, and insert one end in this extreme far hole here. Let me get that in there. There we go. And the other end of the cable similarly through again that far end hole. So at the end it looks like this. Now come on to the other side here. You can leave the cables protruding a little bit and just tighten these screws up just enough so that the cable doesn't fall out during your next step. We don't want to make it very tight, but we do want to just grab the cable a little bit because we don't want to lose that cable. Okay, so it should look like this. The cable going through here when you're done. So we now take the clamps and slide the U-shaped clamps in place over the spacers. Okay? Just like that, with the clamp facing forward on the bicycle. Same thing on the other side. Just like that. Then take this part here and with the cable towards the inside, not the outside, but the inside, insert the mount on the two U-shaped clamps like that. When you get done, you push it in like that. This is the way the cable sits. It's important that the cable be inside. I'll tilt that up there so you can see it. Just like that. Okay. Okay, I've turned the bicycle around so you can see things a little bit better. And I'll now insert these 4 screws right in the front, like this, and then use the supplied wrench to tighten the screws. And I'll be holding this approximately vertical when I do that, so we get it nice and straight. Alright, so finish up and make sure these are nice and tight so that the bracket doesn't rotate. Okay, we're almost done. So what I do now is loosen one of these cable hold-down set screws and push the wire so that it's flush or a little bit recessed with the plastic facing here of the mount. And then tighten the set screw back up. Just do that on one side, like this. And I'm going to move the wrench over to here, and I'm going to make this a nice snug fit because we want that cable to not slip. Cable is going to provide additional tension to make sure that the bracket doesn't rotate on the handlebars. This is a very nice feature of this particular bracket. Make that nice and tight. Okay, when you're done with that, loosen up the other cable set screw, hold down there, and now we're going to pull, I'm going to use this here to grab it, we're going to pull the cable tight. I'm not cutting it at this point, I'm just pulling it. There we go. Make sure it's loose enough to pull. Just pull it until it's tight. Now what you're doing is all of the slack that's in the cable back here is being removed. So it's nice and tight. And then we're going to tighten up the set screw, and this will prevent the Jam-Pac mount from rotating under load. And the final step will be to cut the excess cable off here like this. Now the bracket installation is complete, and we can slide the Jam-Pac in. It should click just like that. To release, pull the red lever and lift forward.